Alright, so welcome back. So we've got our theme all set up and ready to go. So let's get basically our front page and header working. So let me just change to this, so you should see my Explorer now. So we'll get our template here. I'm going to copy that. I'm then going to go into my local sites, into our digital, and go to our theme directory. I'm just going to paste that in there, and that's just going to take a second there. Once that's pasted in, I'm just going to go in and rename that just to HTML, just so we know that's the flat file HTML files. It'll make it easier for referencing later. All right, so let's jump back over to my monitor here. You can see I've got the theme on the left and our directory visual code with the theme over here, and there's our HTML folder we just dropped in there. So what we need to do is we're going to go in and we're going to create a file called front page. Is it front page.php? Page.php. And if we refresh that, we should get a, yep, we've got the white screen because there's nothing in here. We'll get in our header. And bring in our footer. Now just so you know, this is in your pages. I've got a home page, and then under appearance, where are we? Under settings, under reading, I've set the home page as the front page. If I didn't have that, then this wouldn't be the front page. It would be the index.php. So it's because we've set up a home page, it doesn't matter what you call it, and then we've assigned that to be the home page in here. And that's why this is now the front. That's why this front page is working. All right, so now we're going to go into our HTML folder. We're going to get our index.html, and we're going to get let's go into our header.php. All right, we'll just get our stuff in the queue first. So we want all our CSS. This is all our CSS in the header. So we'll go to our functions.php. We'll create a function called digital. Sorry, digital. Enqueue scripts. So this is the function that's going to load all our CSS. We're going to paste that in. Let's get these HTML comments. We'll just control / just to convert them to PHP comments. Then we're going to get our link rel. Control-Shift-L, so we get both of them. Actually, we can get all the way through to this. Control-Shift-L. And let's go WP enqueue style, which is a WordPress function to tell it to enqueue a style. And then we can just copy this. Do the same here. All right, this is Google API. We'll give it a name. I'll just explain this, and this is G-static. All right, so WP enqueue style is the WordPress function for registering and queuing. You've got register style, then you've got enqueue style, what it's called and where it's located. So it's this Google API, and it's located in their API. Let's copy this now. Control-Shift-L. WP enqueue style. Give it an empty name. And we copy that. All right. So this is Google Font, Google Font. This is Font Awesome. So we're just giving it the same name. And this is Bootstrap. This is Animate. This is Owl Carousel. This is Lightbox. This is Bootstrap. I've got two Bootstraps. Hang on, what's this one? I've got two Bootstraps. Bootstrap icons. Bootstrap icons, and last one will be digital style, because that's the main style. Now these ones are pointing to a library which doesn't exist, so we're going to go in and we want to point to the theme URI. Whoops, copy that. Outside of that, we don't need it in. We're already in PHP. We don't need to output it in PHP. So we're going. It's pointing saying it's in the theme URI, and then it will be in the library directory animate CSS. Now theme URI is a helper function I've defined up here. So it's saying get template directory URI, which is basically the site URL / WP content / theme / the digital theme that we're working in. So it's just a shortcut, so we don't have to type that every time. Now that will actually be in the HTML, because that's so HTML live in there. So we'll copy that out. We'll paste that in. Now that one there will be in the CSS, so HTML CSS, just like that. All right, so that enqueues the style, so we can WP enqueue scripts, and so we want to go. Sorry, no, we want to go add action. So we're adding to the action WP enqueue scripts, and then in here we want the name of our function. So if we refresh here and right click and go inspect and look in the console, we've got no console errors, and if we look in the sources, we can see in our HTML we're getting all this CSS. So we've got no error, so that all worked. The next thing we want from our index.html, scroll to the bottom, is we want all our JavaScript in the footer. So we want all of this. So we jump back into our function. So we're working in the same function. Copy and paste that in. Okay. Now this time, instead of, so we can Control Shift L to select all those script stores. Instead of WP enqueue style, we are enqueuing a script. Now, when we're finishing that, we want to put an array of dependencies. We want a string for the version, but then we want true. Now, what that true is doing, it's telling it to put it in the footer. If that wasn't in there, it would be false, and then it would be up in the WP head of the header, rather than just before the body closing tag. So that's why we want to put the true in there. So this is jQuery. Now, I'm going to comment this out, copy that, and the reason being, if we go to the end and paste that in again, in WordPress, it comes with jQuery. It's just not enqueued. So all we actually need to do to load jQuery is run that. So then we've got Bootstrap. Then we've got Wow. Then we've got Easing. Then we've got Waypoints. And we're just naming these for what they are. Counter up, because what it does is, with the using the WP-enqueue, it goes, oh, hang on, that's already loaded. We won't do it again. We want Isotope. And we want Lightbox. Now, once again, we want the theme URI. Not for the Bootstrap. You can see that's coming from a CDN, so that's a HTML URL. But all the other ones, these are locally hosted. In other words, we are hosting them on our own server within the theme. So we're just going to point to where it is. All right. Now, version numbers we can leave for caching, which is that empty string. So like, for example, we know that's 5.00 for the Bootstrap. So we could go and put that in here as well. So we know it's, so basically it caches that version. So if we change that version number, it busts the cache, so therefore your browser needs to know it's cached again. We don't know the version numbers for these. We could go in here, go to our HTML, go to our library, go to WoW, and get our waypoints min, and we can get it from there. Wait 4.0.101 and paste that in if we wanted to. We can also see whether it needs jQuery or anything like that, which the dependency here, so basically if I put in jQuery, that means WoW will not load if jQuery isn't loaded. So it's got that sort of intelligence behind it. I'm not going to worry about the version numbers here because I'm not worried about cache and busting. Let's just go and save that, refresh that. Once again, we've got no console errors, and if we look inside, expand our body, and you can see above, just before our closing body, we've got all our script stuff being in here, and I'd say this lightbox is being added via the JavaScript that's included in that. So that includes all of our enqueues for the CSS and JavaScript for our header and our footer. The next thing we want to do is to get our front page working, is to make it look like this, is we want to go over and in our index HTML, let's go all the way to the top and let's get our header. So this is all the stuff that's in our header stuff here. So we go to our header.php. In fact, if we just wanted to test this, if we get our index.html and we go page.php, paste that in. If we refresh our home page, nothing happens. But if we refresh another page, we can see it's coming in. None of our styles are working because we aren't enqueuing our CSS correctly. So we'd have to, like we did with our functions, we'd have to tell it it's in here. And so let's go back into our index.html. Did I do that in the header? No, I did not. Into HTML. Navbar and hero. Paste that in to our header. And then we've got an open tag here. This container is open. We haven't put a closing one in because that's right at the top. So that actually finishes in the footer. So if we go back to our index.html, scroll to the bottom, that's this closing tag here. So let's get our footer here, footer start, and that'll go into our footer.php. So above our WP footer, refresh that, and now we've got that in. So that's all working now. We've got our nav working. So we've got our header and our footer in. Now, the one thing I want to show is, if we remember from our template here, go to our live preview, we'll go to our about page. You can see our hero is different than if we go back to the home page. So that hero that we've brought into here is only for the front page. So if we go to our front page here, our header, let's add some PHP. If is front page, close that PHP. Clean that up. Let's just go format document with IntelliFans. Let's go. So we can, if we refresh our home page, that's all the same. But if we go back to our page.php and just go PHP get header, PHP get footer. So it's empty, and we refresh that. We go to our page. You can see we're not getting in that hero element. So that'll be so we'll be calling them in for different templates. So let's go back to our home page. Let's go back to our header. All right, so up in our nav bar here, we've got DGITAL. That is our theme name. So if we go into our settings and go general, that's our theme name. So if we paste that in there and save, if we go into over into our header, where that's been called, we want to go equals get blog info, and we want the name. That's a WordPress function. So this is shortcut for writing PHP echo. Okay, that is exactly the same as doing that. So if we refresh, nothing changes here. But if we change it over here, it's now dynamic. Okay. We'll keep it the same. All right. So that's now the same. Now that is linking to this page because we're on this page. On this page, it's linking to the page because in our code, there in the anchor tag for that, we need to go get site URL. Now that's linking to the home page. So now that's dynamic as well. Sweet. All right. So the next thing we want to is let's add a custom logo support. So if we go into Appearance Customize, come on, Patterns, Appearance Customize. We've got this site logo set up. So if we go in and under image in our HTML, you can't see what I'm doing, but we probably have, no we don't. So let's just go in here and let's just go logo example. Just Google a logo example. Images, let's just get logo placeholder. Here we go. This looks like a nice one. No, let's just download that. Visit. Save image as test logo. And let's go and bring that in. Select. See how it's trying to crop it? That's because we have set in the functions.php, if we bring that open, we've got this define logo size. Let's just bring that down, bring that in, and let's go a bit more. There we go, crop image, and there's our logo, but we're not seeing it here. So if we go into go WordPress custom logo, so we've already set up our theme support. So we want to go, so you can see we've got the code there. So we go, so over in our header.php, above our H1, PHP, paste that in, and then we'll go else, so what we've done is gone, if functions exist, the custom logo, oh sorry, if, and we want to go and has custom logo. I don't like all these spaces in my code, but hey, most examples do that. So we're saying if the custom logo function exists and it has a custom logo, then we're going to do something in there. Otherwise, or else, we're going to output the name. So if I do that now, refresh, this will be blank because we're not outputting the image in here. So in here, all right, so we've got this comment code here. Let's just copy that out. So the alt tag for this will be equals get log info name logo. And the source for that, if we go back to it, is, so you can see we've got these two lines of code here. So if we do that, I'll explain what they are. So we want to wrap them in PHP because they're PHP. So we're going get the theme mod, the custom logo, and then get its source. And we want the full size. So, and you can see that's, we want to get output that. So we want to go PHP equals storm. So now, if we refresh, you can see we're getting the logo. So let's just recap on what we just did. We've gone, hey, if the function custom logos exist, which means we've defined it, and it has one uploaded, then get the image for that we've uploaded and output that. Otherwise, give me the name. So if we go back to the customizer and we go remove and go publish and refresh, you can see we're getting that. If we add back in that logo, the cropped one, you can see it updates to that logo. So that's how we're giving it the option to have a logo or have the text. So we're going to leave it as text. All right, the next thing we need is in here, in our header, is our navbar. So in our functions.php, we can find this setup menus. We've already defined a main menu. So that's what we're going to use for our menu. So if we go to appearance and go menus, so I'll just drag this one over here for now. Oops. Come on, just drag over to that side. Thank you very much. So we've got home, about, service. So we're going to create a new menu. Main, let's call this header menu. All right, and we're going to assign that to the main menu that we've created. You can see there's the two that we've defined. And then we want to go into here. So we're going to go, first thing we want to do is go homepage, add to menu, home. Then we're going to add some custom links just because we haven't got the content in there. We're going to go about, add, we're going to go service. So at the moment, we're not worrying about what is in the menu. We're just making it dynamic. So now we want pages. And then last we want, and then in under pages, we've got our team. And we want to drag that over so it's a child. And then we've got testimonial, which is also under pages. And then we've got 404 page. Which is also a child. And then lastly, we've got contact. So that gives us our structure for the same as we've got here. All right, so we'll save that. Now, if we go to, let's bring that back in. If we go back to our header, we can see everything is wrapped in this div class right here. Okay, so what we want to do is get our elements in there wrapped in this with these classes. Okay, so if we go to, let's just WordPress WP nav. So we want this one here. So we can see if we go, let's just comment this out. Because that's our nav bar, but oops. All right, so we can see all this stuff in here. So if we scroll down a bit, we can see an example here with all elements. So here, WP nav menu, here, all these arguments. So what we want to do is go WP nav menu, open and close that. Then that is in an array. So we can do that. That's just shorthand. So a square bracket shorthand for that. We've got theme location. Now theme location is what we've called it in our functions and where we've assigned it. So in this case, it is main menu. So if we go back over here, so main menu. All right. Now, container. So container, we want it to be a div. And our container class is this. Now let's just refresh. Let's have a look. So we can see here we've got everything coming in, and if we inspect that, you can see it's putting it in a UL. So it is putting in the list items, which we don't want. Because if you look at our code, we've commented out nothing is in list items. So well, I think we're going to need to build a custom nav walker for this, or we're going to have to, you know, because they're in nav items, see it breaks on the desktop view. So while it looks okay, we could style it on the list on the mobile, it breaks the desktop view. So if we go, so maybe nav before, so removing the UL wrap. Let's try that. Let's have a look. So if we look now, inspect, we can see we've removed the UL elements from there, but now we want to remove we want to change that, remove that LI element. So if we go to that, so that's items wrap. If we go WordPress, remove LI from menu items, we just Google that. So it's strip tags. So okay. So yeah, so we're not at, so by just so echo false. So you can see in our code we've just put it out. If we go echo equals false, and refresh. Close the comma on that one. There's no menu because we're not echoing it out. So we can actually go container. That's why they've gone container false, container class false. They probably don't need to do that, do they? No. But we don't want that depth as 0. So if we now echo it out, we would need to put this up in here. Because we're not putting out any container. And put that closing div in. Let's see if that works. Yeah. All right, let's just get out of this. So for now, we're going to leave it with the items wrap 0. So we've got the menu item in there for list items, but I'm going to actually write a custom nav walker for that. So bear with me a second. I'm going to write it because it's quite, writing a nav walk takes a little while, and then I'll come back in, paste in the code, and then I will tell you how I. Okay, so Alex Wedler has already created a Bootstrap 5 WordPress navbar walker. So all we had to do was copy this functions.php, and then over in my ink folder I created it called navwalker, and then just pasted that exactly in there. Now you'll see that automatically gets in queue. That's because in my functions.php of this theme, it automatically includes all PHP files in the ink folder. So just by dropping that in there, it just automatically works. And then in the header.php, go back to our header, we can see we've got container false, the menu class return fallback is false, so that way if there's no menu items, it doesn't thing. Items wrap and depth to, and then we're calling in our nav walker. So if we go to it now, we can inspect and we can see it's, while it's still wrapped in all the UL elements, we can see it's functioning exactly the same as the example on the live. So once again, I will post that in the notes. I'm just going to copy that now and put that into my nav walker into there. So then I remember it where it is. And that made life a lot easier. So that makes our, and just to double check, if we go and add another menu item in here, go to sample page, drop that in, hit save, hit refresh, sample page is there, linking. So our menu, so that means our header is fully dynamic now. So we can copy out this code that we commented. Now the next thing I want to do is this hero element, which we, if you remember rightly, we wrapped in is front page. Actually, what we'll do, we'll leave it here at this stage. We'll stop this one. In the next video, we'll come back and we'll do the footer. We'll get the footer all working, and then we'll come back to the hero after we've got the footer working. All right, so in the next video, catch up with you then, and I'll see you when we're doing the footer.